introductions. We'll do some tips and tricks about resume, LinkedIn, and interviews. We'll talk about our experiences. Uni will talk about OEL. Chloe will talk about career pathways. We'll have a little Q&A and a little t-shirt giveaway. Awesome. Okay, so we're the peer advisors. David is not here with us yet. He'll come by later, but he's a third-year electrical engineering. And I'm Ashley. I'm a fourth-year civil engineering.
Oh, yeah. I'm Amanda. I'm a third-year civil engineering student.
My name's Abby. I'm a fourth-year chemical engineering student.
And I'm Arlen. I'm a fourth-year biomedical engineering student.
Tips and tricks for your resumes. Keep it concise and meaningful. Use keywords, engineering terms. A lot of times companies will look for buzzwords in your resume. And then numerical data if you can't kind of quantify your experiences. Also use resources. Use AI to your advantage. Make it sound professional, but be able to elaborate on experiences during interviews. So if you know how to word it, but you don't know how to make it sound professional, that's what AI is for. Literally put into ChatGPT and it'll give you the professional lingo that you need. You could also visit the Division of Career Pathways and the Writing Center. So they're very helpful. Book an appointment with them and they'll help you out to kind of polish your resume a little bit. Also, cater your resume to relevance. So if you have a bunch of experiences, but you can't fit them all on one page, pick and choose the ones that are relevant to the position that you want. Order relevance for the position, latest to oldest. And then experience. So add volunteer, project, club experiences. Even if you've never had internship experience before, a lot of skills are transferable. So anything you do in a project or in a club can also be translated to what you might do in an internship, and you can talk about it in an interview. So interviewers like to see that you're involved in non-engineering stuff too. So it kind of adds, you're well-rounded and you're involved in your community. So these are good things to see on a resume. This is a resume example. So as you can see, you have the education on the top. You kind of have skills. You can kind of tailor that to what would be relevant to the job position. And then your internship experience, project experience. Again, these project experiences could be, for example, with UCI's Anteater Racing. So it doesn't have to be with an internship or with a company, but these skills are still transferable. Leadership is also really good to have. And then, community involvement. So this person's in Cabo, which is the Filipino club. So this kind of shows how they are involved in their community and how they mentor others and they're connected to their culture, which companies do like to see.
Those resume templates are available at UCI. And I think it's in the career pathways. So you can just save that template to your computer and it's super easy just to edit it. You don't have to remake the wheel for that. So how to use LinkedIn first, starting as soon as you can and updating profile, but finding companies you're interested in. Follow those companies, try to find the HR recruiters. They're usually called talent acquisition people on LinkedIn. Start following them, connect them, send a message and say, oh, maybe apply for this internship position or you're interested in this company. If you're still a first year and maybe you aren't eligible to apply to some internship positions yet. Connect with your peers, professors, and also most importantly, if you're going to networking events, do student orgs or a career fair, always ask for the LinkedIn. Honestly, nowadays, a lot of days people get their jobs from LinkedIn or making those connections. They want to see you have that professional presence. And then, and companies will do your account. You can also pay for LinkedIn Premium if you want. You can see who's viewing your account. That's also available to you. And then, yeah, just keep it professional and never too early to apply. But I will say for a specific companies, they'll have specific time frames to apply. Some of the larger companies you'll see for internships, entry-level roles, those will open in fall. And then after Christmas in January, smaller companies will open up their roles.
Okay. Sweet. And then some tips and tricks for interviews. Be professional, dress nice, but also just be yourself and be able to elaborate on your experiences on your resume. Most of the questions they'll just kind of say do a basic elevator pitch and tell us more about what's on your resume, what other stuff you do outside of your resume. A lot of the questions I get after just engineering questions will be what do you do for fun? So also make sure that you're doing other stuff outside of engineering. But do your research for the company, your research for the position that you're trying to go for. Try to, again, use those keywords, buzzwords in your answers for interview questions. A lot of interviews, engineering interviews will be more behavioral questions. So it's how did you solve a conflict, and what qualities would your best friend say about you? There have been some interviews with technical questions, so it will relate to your specific major and position, and it's basically just knowing that you actually learned something in class and being able to apply that. So it's like almost a little bit of a pop quiz. So just also keep a heads up for that. Also, make sure that you also interview the company, ask your questions, any company or position questions. Is this like a company you actually see yourself staying in? A lot of interns will stay there and get like a full-time offer for after graduation. So you could be there for your whole career. So make sure you actually like it and know that you want to do whatever the company and the position does. And then at the end of the day, just like reflect on your experiences. How can you improve for the next one? Maybe you didn't have such a good interview, and just using that as a learning experience for the next one. And you can ask for feedback at the end of the interview, or send up like a follow-up email if you do get rejected. Just say like, oh, like what was I missing? Or like, how can I improve for the other interviews? And then our experiences with David.
I'm David. I'm a third year electrical. I'm also one of the peer advisors. But yeah, so I'll just dive into a little bit of my experience. So I interned at a company called Butterfly MX as a hardware engineering intern. Butterfly MX, if you haven't heard it, they're kind of like, if you think of Ring doorbells, they kind of make that, but for like luxury apartments. So it's kind of like smart intercoms, if you can envision that. So I started this summer, and mostly I worked in like refurbishment and debugging. So I had to go into like those boards, try to figure out what went wrong, how to fix it, or what we can do to like salvage the parts. So I got to learn a lot about like the whole testing process and the development cycle for like the products that we put out. But yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. I'm still working there, so it can get rough when like you have school, but over the summer it was pretty fun. But yeah, so I got the offer from Handshake. So I honestly didn't hear about them until I applied. But yeah, so I saw the listing on Handshake. I applied. They got back to me. So yeah, and then I just some tips that I have. I guess my first point is know your project. So whatever projects that you're in, whatever you're doing, make sure you know them in and out. I've had quite a bit of interviews where you would expect them to ask like random questions, but no, they really drill like, oh, you say you did this. What did you actually do? And so they kind of base your questions off of, what you have listed on your resume. So really know your projects in and out. So yeah, and know what you contributed to and be able to like expand on it and like maybe like embellish, what you did. Next is relate to the company. So find ways to find a connection between you and your skill set with the company itself. So like for this internship, I did a project on like, if you guys did like engineering 7A, 7B, I did a lot of like the circuitry work on there. And then I was able to relate that to like, oh, for this role, I would be able to do this. So I think being able to relate your skill set and even like your personality to what the goals of the company are or for what the position is really important. And then to stay motivated. Before getting this internship, I applied to over 60 positions. I only got like 2 interviews, and this was one of them. So keep applying. And right now I'm currently looking for one for next summer and currently at 80. Had a couple interviews. Hopefully those go through. But yeah, just stay motivated. It can get really tiring when you don't hear back from companies, but you always gotta shoot your shot wherever you can. But yeah, so don't give up. If you haven't started your internship application grind, start now. The cycle starts. It started for maybe like for the past month or two, but use even winter break as like a good opportunity to apply to a lot of places. But yeah.
I'm a civil engineering student, and I hydraulic modeling, wastewater remediation treatment. And I actually got this offer from the UCI Civil Engineering Environmental Engineering Career Fair. So I would say my tip is to go to the career fairs. Yeah, so just attend the in-person career fairs. Even if you don't get any internship offers, it's always good to practice your professional networking. I was only a sophomore when I got this internship, and I honestly wasn't even looking to get an internship, but I saw the opportunity. I decided to go and just talk, and I ended up getting an internship offer. So, and don't forget to connect with these engineers or recruiters on LinkedIn to maintain contact. And like David said, definitely do research on the company's previous projects because they will ask you. I recently had an interview and they asked me, so what do you know about X company? And they really want you to know because you are going to work for them. Another thing that David also said is be prepared to elaborate on your previous work experience. I personally didn't have any engineering experience prior to getting this internship, and that's perfectly okay. So that goes on to my next bullet point of highlighting your unique strengths and aligning them with your engineering work. So since I didn't have that much technical experience, I kind of just went on the extracurriculars I had. So I play on the tennis team at UCI. So I really use that as a strength. I said, hey, so I'm on the tennis team. I work as a solo player, but I work towards a team environment. I communicate with coaches who are higher ups. So I know how to do that communication, and that translates seamlessly to engineering projects. So I would be a great applicant. So just find the strengths that you have that make you unique, because we're all engineering students at the end of the day. So try to differentiate yourself.
So for my internship, I got my offer. I attended the Society of Women Engineers Conference, the national conference in Los Angeles last year. So that's how I basically got this offer. It was in North Carolina, so they gave me a relocation package. I worked for Wolfspeed, which is a semiconductor company. I worked as an equipment engineering intern. That's more of like a mechanical engineering internship, and I'm a chemical engineer. So it was definitely a very like different experience than anything else I've had on my resume. But I really enjoyed it. I loved out with my team. North Carolina wasn't too bad. But for my project, I basically baselined a bunch of equipment for their new material fab. I did mechanical design with SolidWorks, and then I worked on a lot of continuous improvement projects, which when you start looking at job descriptions, you can see that come up a lot, especially if it's in the manufacturing realm. Just general advice I have is try to meet a connectmate. Try to go to conferences if you can. If you become a peer advisor, our group last year we went to, or this year we went to Chicago, and that was paid for by OAI. We has like a application you can apply for at the end of the year. So try to go to these conferences. They have one for all like the big orgs, a national one, and the career fairs are huge there. And you meet people that actually do want to try to help you and give back and find that next generation. Because they're also involved in the student orgs at one time as well. Use multiple websites to apply, LinkedIn, Indeed, anything you can. And then let's see. Oh yeah, we talked about buzzwords a lot. Try to tailor your resumes for each application. Try to do a cover letter if you can. Use AI.
Hi guys. So I'm Arlen. Again, I'm a biomedical engineering major, so BME major. And this past summer, I interned as a manufacturing process development engineering intern. It was full time. My company does orthobiologics and spinal implants. And I mainly worked in optimizing and quantifying hydration for our bone grafts. So that picture is me like inputting one of our spinal implants into like a cadaver, which is super cool. So things that I took away from this experience is that any experience is an opportunity for networking. So I actually joined Club Water Polo my freshman year. And the way I got this internship was one of the upperclassmen graduated with a BME degree, ended up working for this company, and then helped me get this internship. So water polo is not even related to engineering, but every experience you can use to network and to kind of make those connections. And also be open-minded when applying to internships. So my experience is very research-based. So I do a lot of research with the chemical engineering department. But when I was applying for this, I realized that a lot of my skills were transferable. So I had no experience in manufacturing, but I had done a project with 3D printing and kind of optimizing procedures to make microfluidic devices. So I kind of talked about that in my experience. And even though manufacturing wasn't really the position that I wanted or I envisioned for myself going into career, it was great exposure. I learned a lot about the company, a lot about the different positions. There's lots of cross-functional collaboration within your role and without like outside your role within the company. So even if it's maybe not your dream position, I do recommend applying because you can still learn a lot from it.
Hi guys, again, I'm Ashley. I'm a civil engineering major. I've been lucky enough to do 3 internships. One of them, my first one was with Northrop Grumman during the summer. Again, civil engineering, I did not have any engineering experience for my first internship. So yeah, just remember to put that on your resume and just be able to talk about it, because you just need one person to give you a shot, and you can be lucky enough to do like internships with bigger companies, even without engineering experiences. So I was out there doing projects engineering with the facilities team and just like retrofitting all the awesome buildings that were over there in the Redondo Beach campus. During the summer, it is full time, but it was a 980 schedule, meaning you do 9 hours of work a day, but you get every other Friday off. So it's kind of cool. My second one was with Parsons. I did transportation infrastructure. So I was looking at all the roadway designs and doing plan checks with like Caltrans and all that. I did that last year as a co-op during fall and winter quarter. It was part-time with like a hybrid schedule. So I was doing it with school and also peer advising, which can be a lot. So if your schedule doesn't allow you time to do a co-op opportunity, then maybe just focus on school and try to do internship during summer. That's totally okay too. Currently right now I'm at another construction firm with American Integrated Services doing project engineering. So again, I'm doing like takeoffs, cost estimates, and like talking to contractors. I'm doing another co-op. Luckily, most of my classes are stacked onto like 2 or 3 days a week, so I'm able to go into the office and do that part-time. For my tips, definitely go to the career fairs. Like currently right now, I am looking for full-time opportunities. I went to I think it was the civil engineering career fair, but definitely just go to like the STEM fairs and just reach out to them there. Cause like right now, I like took all the business cards from like years ago and they ate that up. So I was lucky to get like an offer from a career fair I went to like 2 years ago and just interviewed like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, go to events. You don't have to like pay a bunch of money to go to Sweet. It's awesome if you can go, but you can still get like different internships and full-time offers by like applying on LinkedIn or Handshake or going to the other career fairs. Ask your questions. Like if you don't really know what the company is about, like be honest and just like ask them what's going on, and maybe it interests you just by like asking those questions during the fairs. Again, you're interviewing the company too, so actually know that you want to stay there or if it's a place you don't want to go to. And then my last tip is like if you don't get any internship experience, that's totally okay. Like I know some like aerospace engineers, they didn't graduate from here, but he had like no internship experience and he's still working at like a full-time company now. So if you don't get internship or if you don't get like full-time offers, it'll still be okay. You can still get those experiences elsewhere with like projects or just being able to elaborate on what's on your resume, and someone will give you a shot. And then Uni's gonna say a little bit about her OEL.
Hi, I'm Uni and I'm the Experiential Learning Coordinator for the School of Engineering. We just launched a new office called the Office for Experiential Learning. If you don't know what experiential learning is, it's basically learning by doing. We believe that learning should be beyond the classroom, so we created this office. So the office is split into 5 different categories: work experience, projects and partnerships, essential skills, the makerspace, and our digital thread lab. So our website is that QR code right there. And while I encourage you to explore the whole website, I want to highlight work experiences and projects and partnerships. So through the work experience section of our website, you can find resources, help you with your work experience and the different work experience options we have at UCI. I really encourage you to look at the Engineering Plus Practicum too in there. That is UCI's co-op program if you're more interested in a co-op rather than an internship. For projects and partnerships, you can find a list of the different projects that you can find at UCI, such as a list of our student organizations and clubs and different extracurricular projects or competitions that we have and that our students do. And so I really encourage you to look at that if you're really looking to gain more experience, whether to put on your resume or to get work experience now. For the other 3, essential skills are basically skills that are, if you know what soft skills are, those are essential skills. We're trying to host workshops and info sessions with industry to help with soft skills or essential skills with engineers. And for the makerspace and the digital thread lab, those are just resources and tools and spaces for engineering students to work on their project. Thank you.
And now Chloe is gonna talk more about like resume and interview stuff as well.
Hello, I am Chloe. So a little bit about me. I'm a 4th-year criminology major, and I also like to sing. Yeah, the picture of the handcuffs is not because I've been arrested. So All right, so I'm gonna go through this quick because a lot of things have already been mentioned, but so DCP, we are the Division of Career Pathways. We deal with anything related to careers, resumes, cover letters, internships, any of that stuff. So feel free to come in. We're located across the Starbucks. So after your morning Starbucks, you can stop by. We usually get you guys done pretty quick. All right, so we can help you guys in a lot of ways, resumes, cover letters, alumni connections. We can tell you guys how to salary negotiate, a lot of different things. So we also have career counselors who can help you with way more than this too. So a lot of resources for you guys. All right, I'm gonna go through resume writing quick. All right, so a resume is a tool to get you to the interview. I'm sure all of you know this, but yeah, it just provides employers with a concise summary of everything you've done, education, skills, things like that. And then the average employer actually only looks at your resume for 6 seconds. So this really emphasizes exactly what you want to put, like especially near the top, and you really want to highlight the most impressive things. So this is the general structure: contact, education, experience, skills. Contact, pretty self-explanatory. Name, city that you want to work in, number, email that you check the most, and a LinkedIn if you have it. But you don't want to put your LinkedIn if it's not updated, because then they're going to look at it and see that's not updated. So it's optional. All right, education, as you know, full name of the university, major, minor if you have any sort of study abroad or any sort of like summer program you might have done, that's also good to put on. A GPA if it's greater than 3.0, and especially relevant coursework, especially for those of you looking for internships. You want things that can show really niche classes. Like that's really cool to employers. This is generally what it's going to look like. UCI, and if you're a transfer, you can also put your CC on there. You're going to have your expected graduation date. You don't have to say when you started. Your bachelor's, GPA, Dean's honor list. That's how you would list that. However many quarters you have it, and then listing out any relevant coursework. Okay, so experience, it can be really anything, and many of the peer advisors touched on this, but it can be work experience, it could be paid or unpaid internships, it could be projects within classes, it could be things at UCI, like the anteater racing. It doesn't have to be anything like structured or paid. It could be really anything. And so you want to make sure when you're listing these things, you want to say the organization, where it is, dates employed, reverse chronological order, because the most recent things are typically the things that employers are going to ask about, things like that. You want to use a bullet point format, which helps structure it a bit better, and also using the appropriate verb tense. So like if you're in something presently, you want to say maybe like present this instead of presented, things like that. And so when you're describing experience, we kind of have this little formula. So we say, what did he do? How did he do it? Why did he do it? And you want to quantify as much as possible. So instead of just saying like, talked to people and advised them, you would say, okay, what did you do? I advised them in this. How did you do it? By a one-on-one appointment, so that they can better their blank skills, and maybe how many people did he do that to? So this is an example. So instead of just, training people at Starbucks, you can say train 5 new hires in areas of customer service, cashiering, and store policies. So you can really see how that really ups the game and really shows employers exactly what you're doing. Skills and interests, also pretty self-explanatory, but these you actually want to just show most of the hard and tangible skills. So less of like time management, communication, that kind of stuff you want to show more in your bullet points. This is the kind of stuff where you can talk about Microsoft and any sort of engineering programs you guys all know. And you can also talk about interests if you have time and space. You can talk about, but you want to make them interesting. You don't want to just say, I like to cook or I like to sing, but you want to say, okay, maybe specific, cooking Italian cuisine, or like running marathons. You want to make them really, really interesting and appealing to talk about. All right, and then some formatting tips. So we typically recommend resumes to be 1 page. And so if it gets more than that, we typically recommend people, you can shrink the font, you can shrink the margins, but you don't want to go below or over these guidelines. Black and white, because sometimes there's a thing called the ATS scanner, called an applicant tracking system, and it'll reject everything that has like color and links and things like that. So you want to just keep it boring, even though it is boring. It's the best chance that you guys will get your resume all the way through to the end of the employer. Use a consistent format. You don't want to have different fonts. it makes it look really, really bad. And yeah, same font size, everything like that. Relevant info at top. Always send in a PDF because it can always mess the format if you send it in any other way. All right, and real quick, I'll go through some interview techniques. So when you're preparing examples for interviews, you're gonna make yourself memorable, but in a good way. And so you want to think about what makes you unique as a person with your experiences. You're gonna talk about current things you're in and also past experiences. And so even things that you don't think are even related, you can definitely think of those and have stories that have those transferable skills, like they were talking about earlier, and that you can apply to what you're applying for then. And the main thing about this is you always want to tie it back to what you're applying for. So even if it's like you worked at McDonald's or Starbucks, I'm sure there's something there that you can apply to the position you're applying for now. And so it's interview day. And what do the employers look for? They want to see that you're appropriately dressed. You want to arrive early, so you want to be on time. Showing up late is not a good thing. Be prepared. Make sure you have maybe an extra copy of your resume so that you can look through it as they're talking with you. And that's okay. That's okay to have that with you. You want to prepare questions to ask too, because like they said earlier, you're also interviewing the employer as well. And so you want to have questions. You want to make sure you seem interested, because hopefully you are. You also want to make good eye contact, smile. You don't want to be looking down like at your hands. You want to show that you're confident and you're ready to be there and that you are confident in what you have to offer them. All right, so during the interview, you want to make the interview a conversation. It's not some random, like, it's not the president talking to you. I mean, it might be if you're that talented, but it's not the president talking to you. So it's like, it's okay. Like, they're just another human and you're just talking about your experiences. And so, you know, take a chill pill and like, let it be a conversation. And then also tie your experiences back, always back to the position. That's the best thing you could do. Stay positive. Employers don't want to hear you speaking negatively about any past experiences or employers. And so you don't want to say like, oh, I left that position because they sucked. Like, that's a really bad thing. Like, always keep it in a positive light, because you don't want any negative emotions associated with your interview. And be okay with pauses in the conversation. Like I said, they're human too. They're probably taking notes. It's okay that it's a little awkward because that's how interviews are. So don't try to ramble and get all your information in. Be okay with the pauses and let the conversation go how it would naturally. And give direct answers. And so body language is also a really important part, and you can look at that through the TED Talk. But yeah, body language, like I said, you want to show confidence. You don't want to be hunched over, like looking at your hands. You want to really show confidence, because if you're confident in what you have to offer, they'll be confident that you're a good hire. So this is a framework. I'm not going to go through all of it, but this is how we answer all of our questions in the career pathways. So, you know, someone asks you, tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership. Okay, so you're gonna, when you answer this in the interview, you're gonna want to talk about the background of the experience, the action, so what exactly you did, the results that came out of it. So especially tangible results are amazing, and especially for all of you engineering folks, tangible results are like the best thing that you can add to this. And then tying it back, so saying like, okay, I learned this, so that's how I'm gonna apply that to this upcoming position. All right, and then you want to send them a thank you email. This puts such a good taste in their mouth of you. And so, yeah, sending a thank you email within 24 hours can make them remember you. It's a really great thing. It can't help you at all, or it can't hurt you at all. So it can only help you. So I would highly recommend sending that thank you email, and it should be different and personalized for each person. And yeah, there's this little blurb that talks about how sending a thank you like email, like there's only 1 out of the 5 that they interviewed, and like it really put a good taste in his mouth. So highly recommend. And then big interview, this is a mock interview website we have that you guys can submit like a little video of you guys, and the career pathways will go and analyze and like give you guys feedback on how you can better your interview skills, because a lot of people will be looking down or in their pajamas and in their bed, and I'm like, you guys should not be doing that. So yeah, we'll give you feedback on how you should be answering things, what you should mention, different things like that. All right, and so at the Career Center, we're also hiring. And so if you're interested in doing something like my job, we do a lot of resume cover letter revisions. I will tell you, my resume sucked when before I came to this job, and now my resume is glowing. So if that interests you, feel free to apply. Like they said, these slides will come out to you guys. But yeah, it's a work study position. So if you need to fulfill that, we do that. We present workshops, meet one-on-one with students. It's really fun. I love it. So yes, feel free to do that.